Hey you guys, thank you for clicking on my video. I appreciate you guys watching. Ooh, I have lots to say. I'm just trying to get everything situated so that I can start putting more focus back into my channel. But I appreciate you guys being here. And in this video, I want to touch on when you're involved with a person or around people, how you can tell when people are basically stuck in childhood trauma and they are still acting it out, carrying it out, stuck in this wound or subconscious state, specifically childhood sexual trauma. Okay, now I know this is a touchy subject. It might trigger some people, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that up front. I'm trying to be careful because I don't know what I can and can't say. You know, I have to be careful on YouTube. But I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people, I haven't heard a lot of people getting into this particular part of it. And I have plans for so many videos, guys, to share not only personal experiences and insights of what I went through growing up, what I have learned over the years about myself, my own sexuality over the years, the things that I had to grow through and go through, and things that I personally can see in other people, because it takes one to know one. Now, a lot of people might be mad at me for disclosing this type of thing or pointing it out or bringing it up to the awareness, but here's the thing for me. I'm tired, personally, of people not taking responsibility for their fucking wounded inner child. Whether it was mental cruelty, emotional abuse, whether they were abandoned as a kid or neglected, whether they were sexually molested or accosted, whether it was violent trauma, physical abuse, beatings. I went through all of it. I was born into it. From my earliest memories, that's all I knew. I didn't know that families could be different. I didn't know, honestly, that all fathers did not do that to their daughters. Did not, the violence, the sexual trauma, the molesting, the manipulations, and the way, the interactions with, whatever. The way both of my parents were, I didn't know that kids were different for a long time. Until I started putting things together, getting older, talking to kids at school and stuff. So I went through all of it. I have a lot to share with you guys. And here on the channel, I really, really want to start putting more time and focus into this. I don't have a specific topic or niche that I stick to. Maybe I'll narrow it down one day, but I usually my videos, no matter what I'm talking about, will always have either a spiritual, psychological, philosophical vibe to it that we can bring something out of it. We can learn from it. We can be aware of something or new perspective, or just something that maybe someone else can be inspired from or even relate to and say, damn, I didn't know anybody else thought like that or went through that. So that's my channel. That's my videos. That's my vibe. I don't care if I'm talking about food. I don't care if I'm talking about fashion. I've got a little something for everybody, that reflect my personal interests, my soul, the things that move me, but I will always try to keep it deep, whatever the topic, the video I'm making, I will always try to bring it full circle, to bring it to something we can learn from it, something we can be inspired by, or a perspective we hadn't thought of, That is something I'm very passionate about, is however I can contribute to the collective consciousness in assisting others to see things, to figure out their own patterns, or on their journey of finding themselves, then I am very passionate about contributing to that, and we're all going to do it in a different way. I think there's room for everybody. okay? There's a lot of great mentors and coaches out there and teachers, and then there are people who do this for a living. I'm very grateful that I got court appointed to a professional therapist at a very young age. Without her, I probably wouldn't have made it. She taught me so much, you know, as far as things a woman needs to know about herself, a girl needs to learn, because I was a very traumatized, effed up young girl. And it's still, even with a therapist, it still took me years and years of screwing up and, you know, hit and miss and living in toxic patterns, and to come to get to where I am, to get to a better understanding. It has been a progress, a hard process. It has been a process I've had to work over the years, but I have a lot to share with you guys, okay? Everything from childhood trauma stuff to spiritual awakenings to just everything, okay? Out of body experiences. I have had some interesting things happen in my life. Certain types of relationships. All right, so let's get into this video real quick though. This is a really touchy topic, you know, and sometimes I feel alone with this. Like, in a way, I was hoping to have a partner that would have been more brave, that would not have wanted to hide out in the shadows and be afraid of himself and be afraid of, you know, it does though. It takes a lot of guts to put yourself out like this, but it nags me. It's been nagging me for years that when you have a calling like that, you know, and I felt like that's what it was. I've kind of known all my life that I'm on a certain type of path. I was born into a certain type of situation. I've always done emotional and spiritual work. I've always been drawn to certain things. That's another thing here on the channel I want to start getting into soon. My deeply spiritual side. I'm interested in everything. Even tarot, ESP, channeling, the clairs. I want to talk a lot about the clairs and, you know, focusing. If you're interested in, you know, you feel that you have those gifts, you're tapped into those gifts. I believe that we all have gifts. Okay, not just what we think. It's not just limited to that. We are all gifted. In fact, I want to say this real quick. There is a guy friend on my Facebook who always stands out from the rest. And I'm not saying no shade to the dudes who say, oh, you're hot. Oh, you're beautiful. Hey, I should be so lucky, right? Okay, great. I appreciate the comments. I'm not saying I don't. That's nice. Although I'm not really a person who wants to attract that kind of attention. I'm just saying, this man is not the average man. He will always say on my photographs, instead of you're beautiful or whatever, he will say gifted. He will leave a comment every time I post a new picture and he will say gifted. I love that. I love that. I truly love that. You know, I think that's a beautiful thing, though, male or female, to be able to see beyond the physical and to be able to see into somebody's soul, somebody's aura, something about that person, and encourage and let them know that you see that in them, you know, that they are more than just a physical shell. I love that. So guys, I'm not going to try to make this one too long because I've got to get to work. I've got some other stuff to attend to, but I've just really been on edge lately. I want to get my channel in order, y'all. I appreciate my subscribers. I appreciate the people that follow and watch my videos and have left comments and feedback. I really appreciate you guys. And like I say, I really, really want to get strongly focused back on this channel and providing more content to you guys and more value. This stuff nags at me all the time. Spirit is on me all the time to not only push out, you know, what I'm feeling spiritually, but also the things I've been through psychologically. The things I've lived through and the things I think other people might be able to learn from. And recently, y'all, oh my God, I am, for the people that are highly spiritual, you know, and believe in that kind of thing or what have you, I am, wow, I'm talking it's been mind-blowing the last year, and especially over the last few months. I've had several dark nights of the soul. I've had what I would call probably 2 to 3 major spiritual awakenings. My first one happening at 30. And the things that have been happening recently, literally feeling my consciousness expand after coming through probably the absolute worst dark night of my life, where everything that could have been associated with my identity as I knew it was gone. The pain, the fear, the anger, the sorrow of having to walk through something like that, it's been a major transformation. It has been, but that's why I also filmed a lot of videos in the last year, catching me in those moments, telling the truth about how far down I was, because I do believe in myself. You have to. I have no doubt that I am in divine order. I am in divine timing. I am divinely protected. I am on the path I'm supposed to be on. And I know that in due time, I have no doubt, I never have, that I will be living in abundance, that this will be made right. Everything that I fell into from getting into that last relationship and what we had to go through together in trying to help a man who lost his child, I fell down really hard, and it got very, very toxic, and I ended up losing everything. And it really, I could go into that, but I'll go into it another day. I really think I felt like there was heavy spirit attachment, bound. I felt very bound in a very dark, negative energy, and I felt like it was basically trying to take me out, trying to take my life, trying to take my spirit, my everything, my plans, my goals, and just trying to break me, and it damn near did. So anyway, guys, it's been one hell of a time. I have a lot to share with you guys, okay? But I know, and I want to encourage you guys as well, I have not gone without. With all of that being said, I have been taken care of. I am still abundant. I am still living in gratitude, okay? I feel very selfish when I get too depressed. We have to grieve, even though I'm not on my territory right now. I don't feel like I'm walking in my shit. I fell down. I lost my place. I lost everything. Just barely hanging by a thread. I ended up back with my mom. The kids are grown. It's empty nest. I lost my partner. He left me in a really crappy and cruel way because of me giving him boundaries and ultimatums. And so it's like, but I have every belief that I'm going to be okay. I'm not stuck in scarcity mentality. Do I get afraid? Yes, I do. When you are snatched onto a totally different timeline, and I felt it coming. But when you're ascending the levels of consciousness and you're going through these different things, you will feel it. And hell yeah, you're going to be afraid. Hell yeah, you're going to experience some self-doubt. But somewhere in the back of your mind, if you want to, I know a lot of people get weird about that, but from my spirituality, it resonates most with me that I chose this for my incarnation. That these are the things that I personally needed to work on, that I needed to learn in this life. And so when I kind of think about it that way, I know everybody doesn't want to hear that shit. I know that could be offensive to some people, but y'all get it, okay? So I'll get off into the spiritual stuff later on, but let's narrow it down for right now. I do have a lot to get on the channel, though. A lot is coming. But let's narrow it down for right now. I've learned so much, even in the last week. I mean, guys, y'all talk about growing rapidly. When you're doing your spiritual work and you're going through an ascension process, and this isn't the first for me. This shit started happening to me about 16 years ago. This is not the first. This is not the beginning. This is like, all the puzzle pieces, the last little puzzle pieces that I needed are kind of coming together for me to push up into the higher frequency again, the fifth dimensional consciousness, and reside fully on that level and take my place back in my power after being so freaking broken for so long. But I've learned a lot even this week as far as masculine feminine energy balance, and just kind of, it makes sense to me. It's like, if you hang in there and you do your work and you keep believing in yourself and you run across, the divine will put the right teachers in your path. The divine, it's all, to me, that's the way it feels. They will synchronistically come. The information and the guides that you need and what you need to hear and know will come your way, okay? And so, even in the last week or two, information has come to me that literally, I was thinking one way one day, and I was right on the brink of understanding balancing masculine and feminine energy within ourselves, because we all have both, and understanding how if we identify, now some people don't, and that's okay, whatever gender you want to identify with, but I'm saying, if I identify as feminine, and I am feminine, but if that feminine is off because of my childhood wounds, then I'm going to be more in my masculine. And that's going to affect my relationships. And the same for the masculine being more in his feminine because of childhood wounds, unresolved trauma. So, I'm just been getting to the brink of really understanding why we need to balance that and how it can get off, how we have both, and how I watched a video yesterday, though, by one of my absolute most respected teachers, coaches, mentor, instructor, spiritual, I don't even know how to put it. I watched one of his videos discussing this very same thing. I was just at the brink of really understanding it. And I watched his video on the Blu-ray Starseeds. This is Pete Sapper from the Chosen 144 channel. His work has helped me over the last 2 years to really, it's like every level I was trying to master or whatever I would be going through, I could click over onto his channel, or he would put out a new video, and oh my God, I'm not even kidding. It would be right on time. Just that very next puzzle piece, that very next step, something I had been wondering about, or now how do I build onto this concept from here? You see, and just like that, your brain will light up and your consciousness will expand that much more, and you'll get it. You will get it. And so that's what happened to me yesterday as far as understanding masculine, feminine energy balance within ourselves. And for those on the twin flame journey path, not everybody is, but a lot of people are, understanding what that really means. And balancing those energies within before we ever can have our true partner that is on the right frequency, okay? So much good content on his channel. He is a fantastic mentor and teacher. And so check that out. But that's what I'm saying to you guys. If you're doing this type of spiritual and emotional work and you hang in there through the self-doubt, that's literally how it happens. One day you'll be thinking one way and struggling to understand a concept, and it's like at the tip of your tongue. It's like you know it, you're getting it, you're feeling it, it's really resonating with you. You'll be talking about it, and you may even be teaching it yourself, and then that last puzzle piece will come in. The divine will provide your teacher, your guide, that last bit of information that you needed to connect the dots in your mind. And then it's like bam, 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 all your neurotransmitters are going off, and you just get it. You don't have to struggle with it anymore. It makes you feel so peaceful. It's like getting a spiritual download or something. You know how we get those and we just kind of understand something that we were struggling with before, and there's no explanation for why we understand it now. We just do. We got that last piece. So I'm very thankful for that, and that happens to me a lot. So like I say, the more I understand and work this spiritual process, the more I'm going to be interpreting it my way, and of course crediting my mentors and their work and wherever I learn certain concepts from. But I'm going to be taking it in and filtering it through my life, my perspective, my experiences, and giving, you know, what I've got to you guys as well. Okay, so at this point I want to talk about really quickly people who have suffered from childhood sexual trauma. There are a lot of videos I could make about this, you guys, about from A to Z, from growing up in that as a little girl, you know, how I struggled, what happened to me as a teenager, but I kind of want to keep this, you know, pretty specific. I want to bring to the awareness people that aren't taking responsibility for their childhood traumas. I'm sorry, but you know, I'm just kind of fed up with certain things. They think this shit is hot and sexy. They think that, you know, and there's a lot of different types of people out there, and I don't even care. That's the way I look at it. Shit. In my past, I was very promiscuous. And here's the way I look at it. We don't have to be in a committed relationship. We don't have to be monogamous with anybody if we don't want to. But don't lie. Don't lie about it. Don't trap people because you're afraid. And because you don't have the spine and the bravery to walk in this world as a single woman or a single man. And you feel like you need a security blanket. You need a money bag. You need what you need. So you wrap up someone's emotions and lie to have that security, but you really want to be single. You really want to be up on dating sites and hopping on homies and sniffing up skirts. And I'm just saying, if you want to live that life, don't lie about it. Have the balls or the tits to do it. That's all I'm saying. I did it for years, and I don't like people who lie about it and basically trap. They go around basically taking hostages. And I don't want to hear that shit, the joke's on us. And these people that talk in the mindset that people that let things happen to them want things to happen to them. Absolutely not. I think people should take more responsibility for their freaking issues. All right. Anyway, there's a lot that I could say about sexual trauma as a child, that I could say about sexual energy. I've got a lot of videos I want to get up in the future just talking about sex in general. You know, it's so taboo. I think we do have to be careful on social media, but I want to get into it, exploring some of these things that a lot of people avoid. And they probably avoid it for a good reason. Like, I need to make sure of the rules on here. Because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want my video to get in trouble or anything like that. But it's like this, y'all, okay? If you're carrying around childhood sexual trauma and you haven't worked through that, or any childhood trauma, whether it's physical, emotional abuse, somebody made you feel bad in your childhood, or whatever the case is, and you've never been to therapy over it, and there are people also walking around with undiagnosed personality disorders, but sexual, you can see it on people. You really can, okay? And this is where this shit, it gets unfair. Because they are still going around, hopping from person to person, getting their self-esteem, thinking that that's where it's at, that that's where it's going to come from, and really what's also happening to them, and trust me, I've been in this mindset before, I grew up in it, really what's also happening to them is, in a lot of cases, they are regressing back to the age that they were either molested or they stopped growing sexually. The age and point where they were either taken advantage of, somebody molested them or assaulted them, or, okay? And it's different for, depending on how it was done. There's a lot we could talk about, you guys, depending on who was it. Was it a parent? Was it a step-parent? Was it a trusted family friend? How was their approach? Was their approach soft and gentle and loving, manipulative? Or was it violent and cruel and threatening? All of that is going to matter. It's all going to make a difference in how your mind forms and how you react to sexual situations as you get older and your marriages and relationships later in life. All of this is going to matter, okay? And I think there are a lot of people out there that are afraid, especially men, okay? And, you know, this happened to me in my life, and I have men in my family who this also happened to, who actually speak openly about it. You know, and I think that's really brave. I think it's even more brave for a man to speak out to the public about childhood sexual trauma, because I just think it's a lot harder for men. I think that other men tend to give them a hard time, and I think men get really afraid of, oh my God, you know, what am I going to be seen as? What are people going to think of me? And so I'm proud of guys when I see that. I know how hard that must be. And so, yeah, I have a male family member or two that actually speak out publicly about that. And I think that takes an extreme amount of bravery, not to be worried about what you're going to be seen like, or thinking that makes you any less of a man. In fact, in my eyes, it makes you more of a man. To me, you are more of a man than, you know. But I will say this, just because you can't speak it out, just because you want to keep it private, again, that doesn't make you any less of a man or a woman either, any less of a person. That whatever makes you comfortable, it is your personal choice, okay? But what I was meaning is these men who are going around, and women who are going around storing their childhood trauma, lying to themselves about it, pretending it never happened, not taking responsibility, and getting involved with women in serious relationships and hurting them, taking the sexual trauma out on the woman, taking all that old childhood shit out on their relationship partners and whoever they're running around screwing around with. It's all coming out in narcissistic tactics and tendencies. It's all coming out in control and fear and manipulation and sexual trauma, acting out, sexual addiction, substance abuse. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about for the ones that refuse to get any help for it, and they're taking it out on other people. They're acting it out on other people. This is my point to this video. I want to get to that. I see y'all. I see y'all. Now, those people, there's no excuse for that. Other than that, whatever makes you feel comfortable with what happened to you in childhood, whatever you do with it, as long as you're taking responsibility for it, acknowledging it, and not carrying it on into the next generation, onto your children, onto your wife, your husband, carrying the pattern on. As long as you're not taking it out on anyone, and you're safe and you're comfortable, then that's your business. You do not have to speak publicly about your trauma or tell anybody. But it's much better, generally you're going to have a lot of problems if you don't find a therapist or you don't find a trusted confidant. But you get what I'm saying, okay? Today, I am addressing the people that have had childhood trauma and they're taking it out on everybody else. We see you. We see you, okay? And I'm saying the men that will go ahead and speak, because a lot of these men taking it out on everybody else, and women too. It happens with women too. A lot of y'all running around acting your little childhood traumas out. I did it too. I did it for years. That's why I can talk to you guys about this. Yeah, a lot of y'all are just in a certain mentality. You're stuck there. You think nobody can see it. And a lot of y'all aren't even aware of it. I wasn't really even aware of a lot of my patterns until, I guess I was about 26, 28, 27. And my therapist made it real clear to me. Like, hey, look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. Alcoholic father who mentally, emotionally, physically abused you, sexually abused you. Mother was withdrawn and not very nurturing. You are desperately in need of mothering. Look what you're running around doing, who you're attracted to, who you're trying to mother and save, and you're codependent, and watch your patterns. Your sexual promiscuity. No boundaries. Not really feeling in your body. Are you all the way connecting to sex? That's what I wanted to get to as well. A lot of these dudes and chicks, especially over a certain age, running around just completely out of body. Here, have me, have me, have me, have me, have me, have me, have me. That is from childhood trauma. That is them acting out whoever approached them as a child, whoever took from them as a child. And a lot of them have put that away and they've never thought about it again. It is deep, deep in their subconscious. And they're not consciously aware that they're doing this. And so it takes sometimes having someone point this out to us. Look what you're doing. A lot of people are not aware of these patterns that they are acting out. They just think, that word sex addict is thrown around loosely a lot these days, you guys. Okay, but I'm going to tell you something. If you get around a real sex addict, it's fucking dark. I'm going to have to clip this because it won't upload to my YouTube in one piece. If I don't, it's getting too long. I will come back in a part 2 and talk more about this. But yeah, if you ever get around a real sex addict, it gets fucking dark. There's nothing hot, sexy, and fun about it at all. So, and we can see it on people. These people running around think they're being hot, sexy, and whatever. Basically, we can see your wounded inner child and that some of you have been molested and something sexual must have happened to you in your childhood when you run around acting like that, especially cheating on your partners. And a lot of the people that act like that in a really obsessive, habitual way, you damn right they're hiding childhood wounds. All right, we're going to get to it again in part 2, guys. Okay, thank you for watching.